It was a Wednesday afternoon when the paperwork landed in my inbox. Mortgage documents under the name Wesley Carter. My name. I stared at the screen for a solid minute, confused. I hadn't applied for any mortgage. We were already living in our townhome just outside of Columbus, Ohio. It was modest, close to her job at the medical lab, and we had no plans of moving. Or so I thought. I forwarded the email to my wife, Marissa. No message, just the document. 5 minutes passed. 10. Finally, her reply came. "Oh, that must be a mistake. I'll check with the bank." A mistake? The document listed Marissa Carter and Wesley Carter as co-signers. Our address wasn't on it. It was for a property 2 states away in Charlotte, North Carolina. I knew something was wrong, something I couldn't explain yet. But the pit in my stomach told me this wasn't about a typo. It was the beginning of a truth she never meant for me to find. That night, I couldn't sleep. I waited until Marissa dozed off, her back to me like most nights lately. Then I got up and went straight to my laptop. I pulled up the document again, scrolled down, and there it was, a digital signature. My name, Wesley Carter, scrawled across a dotted line. But it wasn't mine. It looked like a close copy, but the tail on the Y curved wrong. The spacing was off. I'd never signed this. I opened the metadata. The document had been created 3 weeks ago in a bank office located in Charlotte. Why Charlotte? We had no ties there, no family, no friends, no reason. Unless I opened her Facebook, searched for a name I hadn't thought about in over a year, Ethan Whitmore, her ex. She told me he moved to North Carolina for work and that they hadn't talked since before our wedding. But he still liked her photos, still left the occasional subtle comment. "Looking great, Em." And then I saw it, a photo from a realtor's Instagram, Ethan smiling in front of a new house, a woman next to him with her back turned, same height, same dark curls, same purse I bought Marissa for her birthday. Tagged, number sign, new homeowners, number sign, Charlotte life, number sign, fresh start. My last name was on that house, but I wasn't the man standing in front of it. The next morning, I skipped work, called in under the weather, which wasn't a complete lie. My stomach felt like it had flipped inside out. While Marissa got ready in the bathroom, I sat at the kitchen table staring at my phone. The mortgage company's number was still on the document. I dialed. A woman answered. I gave her the file number and confirmed my name. "Mr. Carter," she said. "Yes, we finalized that property purchase 3 weeks ago. You and Mrs. Carter were listed as co-signers." I swallowed. "Can you tell me the address?" She hesitated. "Sir, I'm not sure I can." "It's important. That house was purchased without my knowledge. I think I've been a victim of identity fraud." There was a pause. Then she read me the address. Charlotte. I wrote it down. My hands were shaking. That evening, Marissa came home later than usual, claimed there was traffic, claimed her phone died. She kissed me like nothing was wrong. I asked her straight out, "When were you in Charlotte?" She froze. Her face didn't flinch, but her eyes did. That tiny twitch, like a mask slipping for just a second. "What are you talking about?" she asked. I held up the printed mortgage file. "Don't lie to me, Marissa." She said nothing, didn't deny it, didn't apologize. Just walked past me into the bedroom and closed the door. That silence hit harder than any shouted confession. The next day, I drove to Charlotte. I told my boss I had a family emergency. Again, not a total lie. I needed answers, real ones. The house was in a quiet, suburban neighborhood. White 2-story navy shutters, a red door. looked like something off a greeting card. There was a black pickup in the driveway. I didn't recognize it. I parked across the street, heart racing, and then I saw him, Eric, her ex, carrying groceries into the house like he lived there. I snapped a picture with my phone. Then another one of him using a key to open the front door. It wasn't a rental, it was his home, or rather, ours, because my name was on that mortgage. I was legally responsible for a house my wife had bought with her ex. On the drive back, my brain kept looping one question: why? What did I do to deserve this? How long had this been going on? Was it revenge, a twisted fallback plan, or had she never really left him at all? I didn't go home that night. I stayed in a cheap motel off the 85, staring at the ceiling until morning. And when the sun came up, I knew this wasn't just betrayal. It was calculated. The next morning, I returned home before Elise was up. I wasn't sure if I was going to confront her yet. I just needed to know more before I lit the match. She was still asleep when I opened the drawer of her nightstand. I had never snooped before, but now it didn't feel like snooping. It felt like survival. I found a folder buried under old magazines. Inside, printed emails, closing documents, mortgage approvals, all in my full name. Co-signed, electronically signed, forged. The email address linked to those signatures, a burner Gmail account using my first and last name with a number at the end. She'd faked an alternate version of me. That's how she got the lender to approve everything without raising a flag. And she'd even made the down payment from our joint savings account. I saw the transfer, tens of thousands of dollars gone, my money, her plan, his house. It was the kind of betrayal you feel in your bones, like your very identity had been hijacked and hollowed out. But what hit hardest wasn't the money or the fraud. It was the note tucked at the back of the folder, written in her handwriting. For the life we were supposed to have before everything got complicated. It wasn't addressed to me. It was for him, Eric, the man she never stopped building a future with, even while building a life with me. That evening, I waited for Elise to come home. I didn't rage. I didn't flip the table or demand answers. I simply laid the folder on the kitchen counter, open to the mortgage documents. Her eyes landed on them the second she walked in, and her whole body stiffened. "Elise," I said quietly, "you used my name to buy a house with him." She didn't deny it. She didn't even look surprised. Instead, she whispered, "I didn't think you'd find out this soon." This soon? Like she expected to be caught eventually, just later. She sat down, folded her hands, and gave me this look, a rehearsed calm, as if she'd been preparing for this conversation. "Elijah, I didn't plan for it to go this far," she started. "Eric got into trouble, financial trouble. If he lost that house, his kid would have had nowhere to live." I stared at her. "So you saved your ex by committing felony fraud?" "It's just a name on paper. You have no idea how much that house meant to him. It was never about me and him getting back together." "Elise," I said slowly, "you were never just helping him. You lied to me. You took our savings. You signed documents in my name. You chose him." Her voice cracked, but it wasn't guilt. It was frustration. "You wouldn't understand. You never had someone like him tied to your past." I could barely breathe. "Elise, you're still in your past. You never left it." She looked down, silent. No denial this time, just silence. And I knew, right then, that whatever life we'd built together was already dust. That night, I didn't sleep. I just sat on the edge of the bed while Elise slept soundly beside me, as if betrayal wasn't curled up between us like a loaded gun. By morning, I had already made calls to a lawyer, to my bank, to my credit reporting agency. Every document Elise had signed with my name. I flagged, I disputed. I began the long, ugly process of reclaiming my identity. When Elise woke up, I handed her an envelope. "What's this?" "My name," I said. "You don't get to use it anymore." Inside were the annulment papers and the beginning of fraud charges, her face drained of color. "Elijah, don't do this, please." But I had to, not out of vengeance, but because I needed to stand again. I needed to remind myself that being a good man didn't mean being a blind one. I moved out that day, took nothing but my clothes, laptop, and the smallest shred of dignity I had left. And for the first time in weeks, I could breathe. I wasn't done hurting, but I was done bleeding for someone who never once planned to stop cutting. A few months passed. The annulment was finalized. The house, my name on the deed, was repossessed in the middle of a messy legal storm. Elise and her ex had vanished into the wind, probably chasing another lie, another fresh start built on someone else's wreckage. But me? I stayed, in my city, in my job, in the mirror. I rebuilt from zero: credit, trust, identity. But I did it with both eyes wide open this time. I ran into Elise once at a coffee shop. She looked different, tired, older. And when she saw me, she hesitated. But I didn't stop. I walked right past her, no hate in my chest, just silence. Because closure isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just not looking back. She took my last name and tried to turn it into a lie, but I reclaimed it, and every part of myself she thought she'd broken.